Hello and good morning. Thanks for joining me for our back bending, heart opening sequence. You can grab a water bottle, blocks, and or bolster for added support if you will like. We will start with a few detoxifying twists, cultivate fire in our chair pose before opening our chests and hearts into several back bends and finally integrating the class in Shavasana pose. I recommend this class regularly. Hope to see you on the mat. Thanks for joining me on the mat. We're going to begin our practice with some spinal movements. We'll start with cat and cow in this easy pose. We're going to look up and down. And as you look down, we're going to create that C shape with the spine. And as we look up, creating a slight back bend, just getting the spine warm. Kind of easing into our bodies. We're going to prepare to do some twists side to side. Going to stay in this easy pose. We're going to take opposite hand to the opposite knee, looking to the back of the room. You can I'm kind of bobbing up and down. You're welcome to do that too. I just like to feel into the movement. We're switching sides. We're going to twist again, so just feeling into this twisting back and forth. And we're going to get ready to transition into table pose, bringing our knees together in our hands. And we're going to lean back on our heels, lifting our butt into the air, knees off the ground. We're going to pedal out the feet in place as the first downward dog of this practice. You can see me doing a little side-to-side wiggle. Our heels are off the ground. We're going to jump or step to the front of the mat. Our hands and lower back halfway lift. Left hand's going to reach the ground, left leg bending, twisting right hand up towards the sky. We're going to switch, lowering the right arm, bending the right leg, twisting the left side, left hand towards the ceiling. And then we're going to twist the second time. Here we go. And again. And then both of our hands are going to come down to the mat and forward fold, halfway, lift, lower to the floor. And we're going to rise, arms overhead, pulling our heart open, lowering the arms into the cactus, arms overhead, feet hip-width apart into Tadasana, swan dive. We're going to clasp our arms behind our back, interlacing our fingers. You can use a strap if you need to. While we're lowering into our forward fold, we're drawing our shoulders away from the ears. Let's surrender your mind to your heart. Your heart is your center of compassion and reverence, allowing the torso, neck, and head to hang forward, bending the knees gently, nodding the head up and down, left and right. We're going to get ready to bend the knees gently. We're going to lower into forward fold and ready to release the hands. Our arms are going to come forward, circling overhead, arms pulling apart in a cactus again, standing in mountain pose, grounding all corners of the feet. And we're going to lower pelvis into chair, hands in front, and Anjali Mudra prayer, using our core strength, legs parallel, releasing the tailbone towards the earth. You can put a block between your hips for support if you like. Now I'm rising my arms, cultivating that fire together, trying to form a line from my arms to my butt. Now I'm going to extend an opening to the right, and we're going to twist left elbow to the right knee, feeling into that. And we're going to get ready to release the twist, still holding on to that chair pose, Arms are still going to be in prayer pose, and our arms are going to open to the left side now, parallel to the ground. Here we are, bringing the right elbow to the left knee, feeling into this twist. And we're going to get ready to bring our arms back into prayer position. On an inhale, I'm going to dip slightly before releasing, legs into Tadasana, circling arms overhead. Notice the fire. Slight back bend, arms into cactus, arms back overhead, palms touching, lowering, palms touch the mat, forward fold, pedaling out the legs one more time, left to right, right to left. Noticing changes in tension. And we're going to step back into high plank, feeling into this position, swaying the hips side to side, preparing to lower onto the mat, palms under the shoulders, thighs are glued to the mat, hips and navel down on the floor. Settle into where you are. Inhale, lifting the head and chest into cobra. Exhale, root down, anchor through your feet, all 10 toes on the mat. As you press your toes, knees lift off the mat, rooting down through your hip joints, belly button, growing out of the hips, lifting the sternum towards the sky. Weight is not in the hands, as you can see. Oh, we're going to prepare for bow pose. Right arm is reaching for right leg, grabbing the outer edge of the foot. Release and grabbing the other side. Left hand reach for the left leg, pulling the toes. We're going to prepare for full bow pose. Arms reaching for the outer edge of the foot, soles, ankles above the knee. Knees hip width apart on an inhale breath, pulling the chest off the ground. Exhale and kicking legs to lift the belly, head, and chest to the sky. Spiraling that inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Continue to kick back and kick up. Pressing the shoulder blades into the chest. Widening the space between the collarbones. Maybe looking up, arms are straight. Opening the chest, upper back. On the exhale, we're going to prepare to slowly lower down. And pressing into our table pose again, we're going to rise into the high plank and lower onto the floor. We're going to prepare for boat pose, raising our opposite arm and opposite leg to prep. And I'm going to switch sides. Doesn't matter which side you start with. Doing great. And then we're going to rise into boat pose, lifting the arms and legs off the floor, knees off the mat. Feeling into this. It's like Superman. And lowering on the mat, pressing off the ground. We're going to get back into table pose. We're going to adjust to prepare for camel pose. We're going to stand on our shins. Our hips are going to be hip width apart, Feet hip width apart, pressing down through all 10 toes. Keep your hands on your lower back. If you feel tension in your back already, you can use blocks to reach. Tuck your heels or untuck your heels for the deepest bend. Hands are onto the lower back. Fingers down, drawing the elbows towards one another. Probably not doing a very good job at this. Using our fingertips, soften the buttocks towards your heels, pressing the fingertips down. I'm going to pull and grab my heels. Continue to drop your butt down towards the mat. Don't forget to breathe. Noticing the wall, the sky behind you. We're going to come out of it. You're going to lift one hand at a time, coming to your lower back to help support you up. And slowly sitting on your heels. arms forward, stretching into a child's pose, stomach in between the legs, toes touching, shifting weight side to side if it feels good. I know it did for me. We're going to press into our hands and rise again into tabletop. We're going to cross the shins forward while sitting backwards on the mat to shake out our legs. Ready? Here we go. All right, and then we're going to reach toward the left foot. We're going to bend the knee, tucking the heel close to your butt. And we're going to lean forward, reaching for the right foot, bending from the hips, slight bend in the knees if that makes the pose more accessible. Reaching for the toes, the knee. We're going to prepare for reclined hero. So we're just getting ready for it. Feeling into this, noticing the tightness, anything that's loose. And then we will rise, pressing into the hands. We're going to adjust your seat and prepare. Bending again, slight bend in the knees. Up, and we're going to prepare to recline. Grab a bolster, if you like for this, using your elbows, forearms for rest. Continuing to rest your head, neck, and back on the mat or bolster. Arms can reach overhead or stay at your sides. We are going to press into the hands, forearms, elbows, rise again, seated position, switching sides, releasing the left foot, reaching to bend the right knee. Remember to bend at the waist, reaching for the toes, bending the knees. If you need it, notice any difference in this side. And just feeling into this. We're going to prepare again, pressing into the hands and rise into seated to recline again. Adjust your seat if you need to before leaning back onto your elbows and forearms further onto the mat or bolster if that's accessible to you. Arms can be overhead on the mat or at your sides, whatever you like. And notice what it feels like on this side. And if we're up to it, you're going to press again into the elbows, palms, into seated position. You're going to adjust yourself. And this time, we're going to bend both our knees into hero's pose. Knees together, separate your heels. Sitting back between your heels, heels outside of your hips, tops of your feet down on your mat. Squeeze the knees together, knees never come off the mat. Hands back behind you, bend on the elbows, come down onto the forearms or lower further onto a bolster. Arms can be at your sides or overhead. You can grab opposite elbows, create an archway in the back. And just notice how this feels. This might be a lot. To get out of it, we're going to press our elbows down, pressing into our forearms to rise one arm at a time. To sit up to the starting position, we're going to lean forward into table position for the last time. Again, we're going to cross the shins forward before our final resting position, Shavasana. I'm going to switch positions on the mat with the difference in lighting and slowly descending into the mat in this pose, Shavasana, where we are going to integrate all that we have done, noticing those tense or soft places in our body. Notice what's different from the start of our practice. You did a great job. Fantastic. Enjoy this. Just easing into the mat. Notice your energy. You can pause here and continue Shavasana for as long as you like, or when you're ready, just wiggle your fingers and toes. You can bend one of your knees and push onto your hand. Lift up gently into easy pose, rounding out the shoulders. Circling the arms overhead and ending in Anjali Mudra. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.